Hello, this is Tanin Electronix again, and today we're going to show you how to remove your climate control, radio, and gauge cluster from your SC300 or SC400. Now the reason you want to remove these is to send them in for repair to us. You'll see a common issue with the climate control is the black screen, lighting that no longer works, the gauge cluster, obviously the needles on this go out. Just like that. This one has fairly low miles, so you're not going to have any backlighting failure. It also depends on your climate. Hotter the climate, the worse it gets sooner. Here, the climate control, you can't even see, what temperature you're at or anything. And then the radio has some bulbs out as well. So the first step in this is to remove your gear shifter. This is a manual, so you spin the knob off, and it comes right off. On an automatic, there's going to be a small panel right here. You pop the panel off, and there's two Phillips screws going in and securing the actual lever to the assembly. So remove that, and then this will come out, and then you can pop the shift indicator panel out, and then the rest of this whole assembly also. So after that, we need to remove the cup holder. It's popped in there a little bit with these clips, so you might have to pry on it. After that, you're going to remove these two Phillips screws. So I'm going to do that and then come back to the video. Alright, once you have those two screws removed, then you're going to want to pop this console out of here. You'll see there's two clips and two more on that side. So pop those clips off. If you have heated seats, you'll have a connector here, which you'll need to get rid of at some point if you want to get this out of here correctly. So that's done. I'm going to remove this, and then there's two more Phillips screws right there. So I'm going to remove those, and then we'll come back for the next step. Okay, we've removed the screws, the harness for the heated seats, and now this entire assembly will simply pull straight out. There's a black connector here that's going to be a little difficult. The tab is on the bottom. Pop the tab, it'll come out. And then the white connector, same thing. You'll see the tab on the driver's seat side. You just push that tab in and then it'll unclip. And you're going to have one more harness here. This is for the cigarette lighter, or a lot of people use them for charging their phone these days and not for smoking. But there's also a little light that you'll have to twist and then pull out. This is probably a T5 size bulb. Let me see if I can do this all at once here. Yeah. So if you're looking to change this to an LED or just replace the bulb, this is going to be a T5 or 74 wedge bulb. This is probably burnt out just because of where it is, and it's always on usually. So we'll check that, replace it if it's bad, and you actually can probably unhook this blue harness instead of taking the bulb out, because it's still connected to the ground of the cigarette lighter here. So disconnect this blue harness and it'll keep all these other plugs in there together, and then you can remove your trim panel. Now once you get to this point, you're going to have four more screws. You can also, I think this is it's not going to be a 10 millimeter. Yeah, it's an 8 millimeter socket or Phillips head. Sometimes they're too tight to use a screwdriver, but most of the time, if you have a good screwdriver, these will come right out. So I'm going to take these 4 out, and then we're going to slide the whole assembly, radio, and climate control straight out of there. Alright, we've got the 4 screws out. Now you're going to find 2 more hidden back here. These are actually 10mm socket head bolts. I'm going to loosen those, and you can do the same. And then once this is out, I will come back to the next step. Okay, we've slid the assembly out of the dash. You're going to have to squeeze this brown clip and remove this harness from the bracket. That'll give you some more play to get the rest of the connectors out. So first, we're going to take the climate out first. Remove these 2 screws on both sides, and then connectors are fairly simple. You just push the tabs. The flash isn't helping here. You'll push down on these center tabs and then pull the connectors out. So we'll do that first, and then we'll come back and do the radio. So here you see the radio. You'll notice the tape light is out, and then the CD light is out. And then obviously when you push the different modes, it's going to light up the different applicable words on the bottom. So you'll have track, disc, fast forward. If you have CD pushed, if you have the radio, it's going to light up the tune, seek, scan, the presets here. If you have tape, it'll light up another set of numbers. We don't have a tape to test it, but that's what it would do. So when we repair these, we replace all the bulbs in here. This one's not too bad, like you can see, but a lot of times, a lot of these bulbs will be out, and you won't be able to see anything. So we will remove this after the climate control. So we've removed those screws on both sides, the connectors are out, and you can pry this towards you and kind of pop the climate control out of there. So climate control is done. Next, we're actually going to show you the differences between climate controls and why it's important to use the correct climate control in your car. Okay, so first we have a climate control from a 92 to 94 SC300 or SC400. Don't worry about the discoloration here. This is just for example purposes only. So you'll see everything works correctly. You can hear the fan speed low and then increase in speed. If you select mode, you can tell it changes to the correct vents, switches, everything works as it should. So you need to use the correct ear range for your vehicle. Again, this is a 92, so you can use any 92 to 94 climate control unit. Alright, next we have a 95 to 96 climate control. You can tell because the backlighting is orange versus the green-blue. Also, the back housing is a cream color. Now keep in mind, you can use the faceplate with any 92 to 2000 SC300 or 400. They're all the same. And then if you want to change this faceplate, there's 2 screws right where my fingers are, Phillips head screws. You remove those, and then the faceplate separates from the unit. There's 2 plugs that connect to the back portion. You unplug them and then pop it out. It's as simple as that. So if you like the orange, you can find a 95-96 unit and swap the head into your 92 to 94 back portion. Or otherwise, this is obviously something we can do too, is change colors on the screen, the buttons, and then also the indicators, which are above the buttons. We can make these any color you want. White, blue, red, sky's the limit. So it appears that This is working fine in a 92 to 94, but the problem is the fan speed is stuck at one intensity. So no matter where the speed is, the blower motor does not change speeds. So if you're wondering why this is happening, maybe you have the wrong climate control in your vehicle. Everything else seems to work correctly. It changes the vent direction, recirculation works, but the major problem is your fan speed is never going to change. It's either on or it's off. There's no in between. Okay, lastly here we have a Toyota Soarer climate control. These are Japan-only vehicles, similar to an SC300, except it's branded as a Toyota. Steering wheel's on the right, and the climate control is flipped 180 degrees. So everything that's on the left is on the right on an American US vehicle, but the climate control works the same. So if you want to be cool and put one of these in, as long as you get one with the black back portion, it's going to work in the 92 to 94. They do make them with the cream colored portion. I'm guessing there's a split somewhere around 95 or 96 where you might have the fan speed issue again. There are also temperature readings in Celsius. Everything else works the same. So you can plug and play these units no problem. If you want a different look or something, or you know, like the buttons on the opposite side, you can get one of these. They're not easy to find, but they work just the same. So that's the climate control overview. We're going to rebuild the original out of this vehicle, put in a brand new screen, and then he wanted the OEM lighting again. He didn't want any LED. But again, we can do any lighting behind these buttons. We can do different lighting behind the screen, and then the indicators on top. So that concludes this portion. The radio, same way. There's 4 screws on both sides, and then remove all the visible connectors on the back, and that'll come straight out. So the next video you'll see, this will probably be all back together, and then we will move on to the gauge cluster. While you're upgrading the rest of your interior, don't forget about your glove box light here. We carry LEDs of all different colors for this location. A lot of people don't even know there's a light in there. But this is our standard T5 or 74 style wedge LED. Very easy to access. You just pop open the grate that covers the bulb, pull out the old bulb, and install our LED. So that's another way to customize your interior, make it look a little bit better than stock. Alright, here you see the completed radio and climate control. Both of these are actually green. For some reason, the phone or cameras have trouble picking up actual colors. If it was darker in here, you could see that the button lighting is on here. So that's repaired. And then all the buttons work on the radio. This tape light does not come on unless you actually use the tape player. But everything else works as it should here. This, we replaced the power outlet and our cigarette lighter bulb. That's a 2723 bulb or a 2721. Those both work fine in that position. It's the same as OEM. If you try using a 74, I think it'll be too wide to fit in there. So this step is complete. Now we're going to move on to the gauge cluster.